Leslie Romrell, here to talk with you today about bases, soup bases. And you'll have all kinds of leftovers in your fridge. You'll have gravies of chicken or creamy or beef or pork, whatever base you have. If it's leftover salsa, that works. If you have a bit of cream cheese left, that'll be good in a creamy soup, or it's good with beef or chicken soups, or Parmesan cheese is good in your creamy soups, and mozzarella, I like that in my creamy soups also. You can always add any bits of ramen that you have. The noodles are good, and the base is good in soups. I always keep some of this onion and mushroom soup handy because it blends so well with nearly all flavors. It goes well with, if you just have a little bit of gravy left, you can add this to it to give you more base. It's good in just about all soups. I don't use it in a fish base, but in all the others, in chicken and pork and beef, I would put it in very well, or even in some vegetable soups it's good. So it's just a great thing to have on hand, or if you have some of it left over, that's good. Any leftover creamy soups, any kind, or I always keep creamy soups handy too because they're good to supplement other leftovers. Like if I have leftover noodle base dish, then I can use that as the starting for a soup and add cream soup to it. And any of the any leftover tomato product is good for soups, and I like to keep some kind of tomato, either diced or the whole, or sauces, or even just tomato soup are good to have on hand just to supplement whatever else you have left over in a tomato base. And I always keep a little bit of broth, beef broth and chicken broth around to add to soup, add to gravies that are leftovers, to extend them and make more of it. And some of the things I like to use to amplify the base are, if I'm making a sweet base, I use fructose. This is the powdered fructose, or you can use honey if you're doing a sweet soup. Pork is good as a sweet soup. Chicken sometimes can be good as a sweet soup. And then I use the fructose as my sweetener for it. And lemon is good in just about any kind of soup. And also the balsamic vinegar, or even just regular dark vinegar, or even white vinegar, are good in soups. I have a friend who makes soups professionally, and he puts vinegar instead of salt. So if you want to limit the amount of salt you're using, increase the amount of vinegar, and it will give it the tang that you want. I have a friend who taught me to use, that you can even use ketchup for a base to help extend a soup, give it more rich flavor. And of course, it's always hard to go wrong with soy sauce. It's good in so many, it just blends with just about every other flavor. And in my beef and pork soups, sometimes for the base, I like to enrich it with a little bit of steak sauce. And in my creamy soups, sometimes I put just a couple tablespoons of mayonnaise to give it a bit of tang. And in almost any soup you can put some olive oil and just whip it up, and it blends in really well. Olive oil is so good for our hearts, so put that in. It's a good flavor and it's good for us. So put a tablespoon of that or so and whip that up. And in just about any soup, any flavor would be good with the olive oil. And those are some tips on enriching your soup bases. And to keep your leftovers, I always get these little containers and have them on hand to put my leftovers in, and put them in the freezer with a label on it, so that you know what it is, because sometimes it's hard to remember what it was, and it's hard to tell by looking because so many things look alike when they're frozen. So these are the tips for the base. Thank you. Have fun cooking.
The TV's playing.
Did you turn it on?
It's been on. Can't you hear it?
Oh, the kids were down there playing. They probably left it
Well,
on.
isn't that going to be on your video?
I don't know.